My name is Gabrynowicz, and I'm the executive chef at Tupelo Honey Southern Kitchen and Bar. Tupelo Honey is a restaurant that is rooted in Southern Appalachia.
We started here in Asheville, North Carolina, just cooking good, homey comfort food. I had this idea of creating the quote-unquote perfect Appalachian plate. And if I could do that and I could tell a story of some of the really awesome characters out in Appalachia that have shaped our foodways and shaped what we do at Tupelo. And so this was an opportunity for me to really dive deep and bring my food and bring our food as Tupelo Honey to a new level of understanding and appreciation for what this beautiful culture is around us. There are so many parts of Appalachian culture, and I think it was really hard to whittle down into one dish without a little bit of help. Kind of opened up a can of worms and knew I really needed to ask an expert. How is it that I can go about telling a story through this plate of the people and the different cultures that are in Appalachia? Because it is very vast and unique.
So I think about this a lot, like what sets this region apart, and I think there are a few kind of key factors that come to mind for me. One of them is an emphasis on preservation, because I think that's a really important part of Appalachian food and Appalachian food traditions. That was food for survival. I would also say something foraged, and then if it's in season, fresh vegetables for sure that were grown in the garden. I would also add to that corn. Corn, I think, is an essential ingredient for the Appalachian plate.
If you could send me on a journey of like finding inspiration, where would I even start?
Since we're in Asheville, the first place I would go is Cherokee, because that pre-contact food is essential to Appalachian food. It is Appalachian foods.
One of the reasons we're here is because I would love to learn as much as I possibly can about Appalachian culture, and the Cherokee people have such an important role in that. If I knew nothing of the Cherokee people and this land, what would you want me to know to take back to anyone that I'm going to share it with?
We lived with, took care of the plants and the animals, and they in turn took care of us. I think that's what kept us alive. These wild edibles sustained us and my ancestors, and growing up, me and my family. The ramp in particular is one of the first greens to come through. It comes in early spring and would even come in through the snow. So, you know, after a long winter, fresh greens is a good thing. We respected the ground that it grew in, and we took care of it. And we respected the plants enough to make sure that they had a chance to come back.
We understand that you have arranged for a traditional Cherokee lunch for us today, which I couldn't be more excited about. So can you tell us about what maybe is going to be prepared for us today?
So what we're planning on doing today is a couple of our traditional breads, a wild green. We're also going to try some of our soups.
I like this feast right here.
It's good food.
That's awesome.
It's good people, and everybody contributes.
We are headed to Benton's Smoky Mountain Country Ham. Alan Benton is a legend in my world. Every chef loves bacon, and so to meet the guy who really put fine, beautiful bacon and country ham on the map for chefs across the country was an absolute honor.
Eric, the recipe that I use came straight out of the old log smokehouse behind the house I was born in. But the Benton family cured with the salt, brown sugar, black and red pepper. I stick with that recipe.
It's a drying process. We're taking the moisture out of this ham, thereby removing the environment for the bacteria to survive so that it will keep without refrigeration.
My family grew up doing this. It was sustenance food for poor Appalachians all over the South. They preserved everything. They had to cure the pork to preserve it. It was a way of life and a part of life. And the food was extraordinary. All those things define the people of Appalachia. They had very little money. Most folks raised everything they ate. And that culture has evolved so that it affects all of us in this Appalachian area.
Country ham and bacon When you really boil it down, the process is incredibly simple, but there's so much nuance to it. Their product is beautiful, and it is just really the heart and soul of Appalachia. So we're heading to Berea, Kentucky, where Bill Best's farm is. Bill is an 88-year-old farmer. I've heard people reference him as the Johnny Appleseed of Appalachia. So we're going to learn from him. So how many varieties do you have seeds for that you've saved?
The last time my son and daughter counted it, I think there were 1,500, but we only sell on the internet probably 150.
How did you get started in farming? Like, when did you begin?
Maybe 86 years ago. My first memory was in the garden picking beans. Throughout the mountains, beans were a dominant crop, and in every garden, every little cove, every little hollow, the women gardeners typically save the seed and see if it bred true the next year, and if it did, share them with family.
What's your favorite way to prepare beans?
I prefer the ones with fat back, or bacon for that matter. All I can say is you cook them until they're done. You cook them until they're tender and tasty. Now with shuck beans, leather britches, it typically takes longer because they have to be rehydrated, and then you cook them again until they're tender.
And I think the quintessential part of Appalachia is the Southern hospitality. And we were invited into a woman's home named Renee, who cooked us leather britches that they had preserved from the year before. And that was like, I don't know, it's not many times as a chef where you get to experience a new food for the first time. And I was able to do that on this trip, and I will be forever thankful for it. It was really a special moment. It's a damn good bean. I feel like my head has been spinning for days. I almost feel more lost now than I did when I started the journey, because there's so much great knowledge that I've been able to gather over the course of the last few days in Appalachia and on this beautiful journey, that getting it to the plate is going to be a challenge, but it's one that I'm really excited about. The plate and how it came together is I was really proud of. We started obviously with a biscuit. It's the bread of the South. We make on average 65,000 biscuits a week, and we use white lily flour, and it's a great product, and we love it, and it's super consistent and really a staple in Southern kitchens. Corn is such an important part of Appalachian culture. So we started with grits on the bottom of the plate. Above the grits is where we really wanted to marry the three things that we learned specifically. We had beautiful October beans that we ate when we were having lunch with Mary. And I brought those together with half runner beans that I learned about from Bill Best. And then brought all of that together with some foraged ramps and bacon from Alan Benton, all kind of come together under what we sat on top, which was a beautiful preserved piece of pork shoulder, but we wrapped it in country ham prosciutto with a sorghum glaze. And all of these ingredients had been mentioned along the way, and they came together in a way that I was really proud of. Seeing Erica there and having a meal with her and breaking bread with her and just getting her feedback on what the dish was and if we had succeeded or not in our journey was really special for me. It's not every day you get to cook for an expert or someone with as much knowledge as she has. I was just really delighted to enjoy the dish with her that we had put together.
The story is absolutely coming through because there's the forageable with the ramps. There's the preservation element with the cured pork from Alan Benton, and then we've got representation of groups that are diverse. We've got corn, so that makes me think of Cherokee people.
Setting me on the right path.
And sorghum, I mean, they're in Africa, all the tastes are there. I would say you hit it out of the park.
Thank you.
It's really amazing.
I was concerned up until the minute we cooked that dish that I wasn't going to be able to really represent all the pieces of Appalachia we learned from. Learning from these wonderful people along the way and getting their guidance was always meant to guide us to do what we do just a little bit better. I knew in this journey that we wanted to take the traditions and honor them, but also put our own modern spin on them. That's who we are, it's what we are, it's what we've always tried to do at Tupelo Honey, and I wanted to stay true to that. It might not be the perfect Appalachian plate, but I think it was perfect for us in the journey that we had just been on.